Oh god, that race was rough. I can't sugarcoat it, man. That race was not a fun time. It was under 2 hours, which was cool. I don't remember the last NASCAR race in a Cup Series that lasted under 2 hours and went full distance, but that was a very rough watch for a race. I was a little bit afraid that it might be like that, and it ended up being like that. And I feel like the road courses are getting worse as the teams learn the car more and more. And, all the teams are so equal. And, man, I like this next-gen car. I really do. At certain tracks, ovals, super speedways, that's made the intermediate racing better. But, man, oh, man. The short tracks and the road courses, I don't know what to do with this car. It is really starting to test my patience in terms of just how poor the racing is. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just the nature of how the car is. The drivers can't do anything. And the teams are also similar now because of how the next-gen car is. It's basically like a spec car. There's little differences, yeah, but just really rough to watch. Only 2 races left in the Cup Series regular season, now only 1. But Watkins Glen, nothing really happened in terms of the playoff fight either. I mean, this race compared to last week, which was Indianapolis Road Course, which I didn't mind because Indianapolis Road Course, you had 3 drivers that haven't won, and Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott, and Daniel Suarez all battling it out, and you could actually see that they could pass each other in a way. Today, you didn't really have that. You had William Byron, Denny Hamlin. You had one in Ty Gibbs there. AJ Allmendinger was creeping around back there in the top 5. Kyle Larson was up there. But those bubble drivers, Daniel Suarez, Chase Elliott, they had issues. Ty Gibbs lost track position with around 30 laps to go and couldn't really get back up. And the story of this race, we'll talk about individual drivers in a second, but the story of this race was just how poor the car was for the racing product. NBC showing the playoff standings right now. Even that hasn't really changed a lot. I think Ty Gibbs was 28 points behind or something like that. 49 points behind, something like that. He's now 32 points behind Bubba Wallace. Nothing has really changed. Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, AJ Allmendinger, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott all still need to win. Bubba Wallace is still there on the bubble in the 16th spot. William Byron has gotten his 5th win of the season, so those are things that have changed. But the real story of this race was the car, guys. The car was just horrible. I mean, I have not really gone into the next-gen car before, because as you guys know, I like it, and I still do. But the product that car produced today was really bad. Really bad. Like one of the worst road course races I've ever seen in terms of racing product. Drivers being able to race each other. I've never seen less passes in my life at Watkins Glen. I really like Watkins Glen as a road course. It usually delivers on a year-by-year basis. But holy crap, that was horrible. Before I go any further, I want to give a shout out to all the Patreon members. As always, for supporting the channel, you guys are the best. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button and comment down below with your opinions on the race. I promise you, I usually like most races. I've almost liked almost every race this season. But this one was the one where, as I was watching, I couldn't. It was really, really annoying me. What are the reasons? Well, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, the car is fast, right, around road courses, more grip, 5-gear sequential shifter, bigger tires, right, so tires don't even wear as much right now. The cars are more planted into the track. If you think about road course racing like Watkins Glen, right, the cars will slide around, before the next gen car they would slide around, and with this car it's really stuck to the track. Even in the bus stop you're not really sliding around a lot. I know Daniel Suarez lost control of the car, but it's a car that is, it's a supercar essentially. It's like what you see in those Australian vehicles. It is what it is, but the dirty air is unbelievably bad with this car at road courses and short tracks, and I can't understand it. Like I said this probably a year ago or a year and a half ago when I was talking to you guys about this, where we would see this car in an oval. Just put it on, I don't know, Atlanta. Or, well, old version of Atlanta. Kansas. Chicagoland. Something, right? Just some oval track. Las Vegas, okay? And it doesn't seem like it handles that bad in dirty air. Like, yeah, you might have to like move your line like always, but you could run up to someone 5, 4, 3 tenths, then you move your line, and then you're able to make the passes. And it seems like something with this car. The one thing I can see a resemblance between this car at the ovals, like the intermediates, and the short tracks and the road courses, is that when you are over a second behind, I think it handles dirty air better. When you are within half a second, it handles dirty air a lot worse than the previous cars, which is really odd. I don't understand. I've just been noticing this, right? That for some reason, it just seems like the dirty air is not as harsh as it used to be when you are a second, 2 seconds behind. But when you get to half a second, you just can't do anything. And part of that, another reason why that might be, is that again, this next gen car with the teams, it's more spec. There's not a lot you can do. Team versus team, the cars are definitely a lot closer than previous generations of cars. If everyone is going the same speed, but dirty air is still as prevalent, then it's going to make those effects worse. Another thing, the braking, right? So Watkins Glen, you have multiple braking zones that you should be able to pass in. Turn 1, the bus stop, even turn 10 as well, before the final corner. You should be able to pass in those corners. And you just the braking zones are so short now because the braking on the cars are so good, right? So it's very interesting to see, and I'm watching a clip right here of Austin Dillon being very upset with Kyle Larson. And Kyle Larson does not care. I have the broadcast right in front of me. Austin Dillon was just like pissed off, and Larson just gave him a thumbs up like, I don't care. That just shows you that Austin Dillon does have respect in the garage area. And yeah, Larson completely wiped him out, but I don't think a lot of people care about what Austin Dillon thinks, since it is what it is. I mean, I was watching Ty Gibbs for like 40 laps of this race try to pass his teammate Denny Hamlin. Couldn't do it. It wasn't like he was 3 car lengths back. He was literally a car length back. But with the braking on these cars, it's just more difficult. You can't really outbrake someone. If you want to try and outbrake someone, you're gonna just hit them, like, because the braking zone is a lot shorter. So that's another thing. All these things combined: bigger tires, the better brakes. You want to say better, but like they are better performing brakes, so they don't really fail as much and they stop the car quicker and all that stuff. And something about this car, when you get very close, they're more durable as well. That's another thing, right? So you can't really do a bump and run, because if you bump someone, they don't really get loose. You have to literally hit them. All these things combining together, in a way, if you look at your ideal race car, right? Some of these things, like the car being more tough and it doesn't take as much damage. Remember when we would always complain anytime 2 cars made contact, it would cut a tire down because the sides of the cars, right? The fenders were so delicate and everything that it would just cut a tire down. Well, you can beat and bang in this car. That's not a problem. You're not going to cut a tire down. We don't see that anymore. Problem is you can't pass. You can't get side by side. It's a big issue. It's a very big issue, and this race has really raised my concerns. That was one of the worst races I've seen this year. It's one of the worst races I've seen in the last few years. I'm not lying, guys. That was very bad. What was also very bad was Alan Gustafson today. Oh god. So the main storyline of today was, Chase Elliott. And I tweeted out yesterday, I said, if you don't qualify top 10, well, I said, actually, you should watch qualifying because it's very important. F1 style. That's what NASCAR at the road courses is starting to turn into, where qualifying is more important than the race. But if you don't qualify top 10, you don't have a chance. And Chase Elliott did not qualify top 10. Didn't have a chance. It got up to like 7th, I think, because of strategy and stuff, but in terms of like pitting just to get out of traffic, right? So like again, like F1 style racing, you're not pitting for fresh tires, you're pitting to get out of traffic. When was the last time in NASCAR we heard about that? It's just very odd. Lap cars that are running 33rd, like what was his name? Adam Lally. What's his first name? I completely forgot his first name. Andy Lally. I don't know why I said Adam. I haven't seen Andy Lally in a while, man. That's why I just completely forgot. But I was watching Andy Lally easily be able to hold up the leaders for like 10 laps. I was like, what is going on? I don't understand this race car. Oh my god. But yeah, if you don't qualify top 10, you're not winning this race. What I didn't think would happen was running out of fuel. Alan Gustafson. Listen, as when I had a favorite driver, which was Jeff Gordon, I obviously knew Gustafson very well, because, you know, when I was a kid, I would always listen to the radio. Like, if Gordon had an onboard camera, I'd have that on a laptop while I watched the race on TV, and I would always follow. Like, I was a mega fan, right? Not like anymore. I'm not tracking, you know, a driver's onboard camera. I'm just kind of watching the race in general. I always had my issues with Gustafson. He's a good crew chief. He's not a great crew chief. He never has been a great crew chief. He can make fast cars, but he can't do it consistently, right? So one year will be different to the other, and it's usually very inconsistent in terms of the setups and the stuff. Adjustments, meh. Always plays it conservative on tires. That was one of the biggest things, especially late in Gordon's career when track position was getting more and more important. Always pit the dude for 4 tires, and I would be like, you need the track position, and Gordon wouldn't be able to get back up through the field. So I always had my issues with Gustafson. And this year, and even in previous years, you know, I know he won the championship with Elliott in 2020 or 2021, whichever year it was. But I've never thought the two of them fit. I know they've been together the whole time, but I just never thought the two of them fit. And what happened today is inexcusable. I mean, he ran his own car out of fuel. You have a reserve switch. A shout out to NBC and Steve Letarte, who did a fantastic job explaining that. I did not know that's how, and I'm sure many of you guys didn't know how it worked. I thought there was genuinely like a reserve box, but no, there's actual 2 boxes that are open. There's not a cover on it, and at a certain point, you know, switch the fuel off on one box to save whatever that's left, and then when you are running completely out, you switch that box back on essentially, and that's how you get the reserve fuel, right? And I thought that was really neat and really cool to learn. So shout out to NBC and Steve Letarte for showing that. But I mean, Gustafson, these guys usually have the fuel to exact amounts. They don't mess the stuff up. And Chase Elliott ran out of fuel in turn 1, or even through the S's. He was running out of fuel. He was sputtering. That's a big mistake to miss your fuel by a whole lap. That's a very big mistake, and it cost Chase Elliott any chance of victory. That was the only caution, was Chase Elliott running out of fuel. I don't think there was going to be a caution if he didn't run out of fuel. So he wasn't going to win anyways, because he was already 22 seconds behind the leader, because again, track position means everything. He heads into Daytona. He has to win. I don't think he will win. He's a good super speedway plate racer. It's Daytona. Anything can happen. I don't think he's going to win. If you want to place your bets on that, I don't think he's going to win. And him missing the playoffs would be a huge deal. Again, he would have made the playoffs if he didn't, you know, break his leg, but it is what it is. It happens, and, you know, it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. But in the bigger picture, I think you got to really watch Alan Gustafson's job there at Hendrick. Maybe he could be with another car. I just don't think I don't think those two should continue. That's just my opinion. And that's going back a long ways, man. Like all the way back to 2010 with, you know, Alan Gustafson. It's been a long time that I've never felt very high on him. Another thing we could talk about is the stage cautions. I see a lot of complaints on Twitter saying, you know, actually we should bring back the stage cautions. Well, no, not really. That's not why the racing is bad. The stage cautions don't have anything to do with it, in a way. You would get more restarts, 2 more to be precise. You would unfairly put, not unfairly, you would have to, no, yeah, you would make the fast guys, the guys who qualified well and want to go for the win, or maybe want to get stage points. You'd then punish them by making them restart 21st for, you know, for winning a stage, which just does not seem fair. And yeah, you get 2 more restarts, but the actual racing product wouldn't change. I mean, maybe if you have like really fast cars, you place Michael McDowell back in 25th, yeah, maybe he could drive up to 13th or something, right? Which we'll talk about McDowell in a second, because he made 2 mistakes and then the engine shut off on him. And he could have easily won this race, but those mistakes cost him. But I don't think the stage cautions have anything to do with it. If you have this race with stage cautions, it just makes it more, in my opinion, unfair for the drivers and teams, because they have to sacrifice stage points if they want any hope of winning this race, which again to me is not fair. It's the car. It's been the car. When we go to Martinsville, when we go to Bristol, when we go to Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Richmond, New Hampshire, all these tracks, a short track or a road course, It's been the car. The car is the problem, but there's so many problems. It's like you can't. I don't see a fix. I know NASCAR is testing things. They know the issue as well. I don't see a fix because while I do like this race car, for this specific issue, I don't know how they fix it. It's a very hard problem to have. So, yeah, this is kind of just what we have. I'm very worried about it. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if you can know the concern on my face. I'm very worried that we're not going to have good short track and road course racing for a while because I don't know what you do. Like, I feel like you'd have to bring a completely different car, which is way too expensive for the race teams. You don't want like a COT 2007, situation. So, yeah, I don't know. And more horsepower doesn't change it either. I don't think more horsepower does it either, because the car will naturally have more grip, and you add whatever 250 more horsepower on it. Okay, the cars will still stick to the track because of the bigger tires and the grippy nature of them. They're not going to slide around, and you're not really, even with an extra 250 horsepower in your race car, maybe it will extend the braking zones a little bit, yes, so that could help, but the brakes are still going to be fantastic, and you really won't be able to bump and run people out. It's just, I don't know. It's a very complicated issue that I don't really know how you can solve. I have the race results in front of me. I'll show it to you guys on the screen, obviously. William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, AJ Allmendinger, and Ty Gibbs. I'm pretty sure those 5 restarted in the top 5 positions with 30-something to go, and they finished in the top 5. You couldn't pass, guys. You could not pass. It was impossible. William Byron made a pass for the lead, never gave it up, and that was that. Even look at the starting positions, right? William Byron started second, finished first. Denny Hamlin started first, finished second. So there you go. First and second, finished first and second. Christopher Bell got his track position because of that caution, right? So he was able to, I think he was on pit road when the caution came out. He started 7th. I think he was running in 6th or 7th before that caution came out, so he didn't go anywhere. AJ Allmendinger started 6th, ran 5th basically the whole day, ended up finishing 4th. Ty Gibbs started 4th, ran 3rd or 4th pretty much the whole day, ended up finishing 5th because he pitted early. Again, what I'm saying is they didn't go anywhere. There was nowhere to go. There was nowhere. You couldn't do it. Shout out Martin Truex Jr., 19th to 6th. And I think that's one of the best drivers in the field, so he was someone that was actually able to do it. Chris Buescher, 13th to 7th. He finished a gain of 6 spots. Tyler Reddick started 8th, finished 8th. This is what it is. Ryan Blaney in 9th, Joey Logano in 10th, Todd Gilliland with a fantastic run in 11th for Front Row Motorsports. Michael McDowell ends up finishing in the back because obviously 2 mistakes on pit road and his engine basically shut off. It was very fast. Bubba Wallace actually had his best road course race, in my opinion, that he's had ever. I don't know. I saw that man run top 10 for a long time. He finished in 12th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 13th. Kyle Busch in 14th. Brad Keselowski 15th. Cindric in 16th. Preece 17th. And everyone else basically just had to survive and couldn't go anywhere and couldn't get track position. And God bless them. They tried their best. Kyle Larson ended up finishing in 26th after losing his track position and then wrecking Austin Dillon on the last lap, which they had that argument about. And yeah, Chase Elliott obviously running out of fuel, went a lap down, 32nd, and Michael McDowell in last because of the engine failure. So that's the race. Nothing really changed playoff side of things. We are off to Daytona, and if you want to catch some of my live streams, guys, I will be live streaming Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, all those nights. Because of Daytona week on iRacing, so we're gonna have some fun there. So if you want to come watch along or even race along on iRacing, that is what we're doing for Daytona week this week. I don't think I'll be live streaming Friday and Saturday because obviously Friday is Xfinity Series race and Saturday is the Cup Series race, and then Sunday night I probably will actually. So yeah, 5 nights of streaming over the next week. So make sure you check out this channel for that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I thought this was a very poor race. And Daytona will be better. It's Daytona. But, yeah, I don't know what to do with short tracks and road courses, man. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram already. Subscribe if you are new. And peace out.